Welcome to The Explainer. Grab your chef's knife because today we are diving straight into the closely guarded secrets of professional kitchens. We aren't just reading through standard recipes here. We are unpacking the actual science and techniques behind an exquisite, multi-course paneer feast.
You know, if you've ever bitten into a piece of paneer that was, well, kind of rubbery, or tasted a spinach cream sauce that just felt heavy instead of luxurious, you know exactly what that gap between home cooking and absolute professional mastery tastes like. Today, we're crossing that gap. We're going to break down the techniques required to perfectly balance your spices, textures, and richness.
Here is our tasting menu for today's Explainer. We've got 5 courses: Foundation, Aromatic Mastery, Balancing Richness, Palate Cleanser, and Sweet Symphonies. This is meticulously structured to build your fundamental kitchen skills before we wrap up with a grand dessert finale.
All right, course 1, Foundation. Let's look at perfect homemade paneer, the absolute bedrock of Indian cuisine.
It's amazing to watch this delicate transformation from a simple liquid into a solid 4-inch cake of cheese. So you start by bringing 5 cups of whole milk to a rolling boil. The very second you see those bubbles, boom, stir in 2.5 tablespoons of lime juice and get it off the heat immediately. Give it a 15-minute rest so the curds fully separate and sieve it through a cheesecloth. But here is the real pro secret. Press it with a heavy object for 5 whole hours. That extended, heavy pressing is exactly how you nail that firm but melt-in-your-mouth texture that won't just crumble apart in your sauces.
Now, as you're making this, you'll get a byproduct called whey, that cloudy liquid draining through your cheesecloth. And listen, in a professional kitchen, that stuff is literal liquid gold. Seriously, never throw this away. Stashing whey in the fridge and using it as a cooking liquid instead of plain tap water is a massive industry secret. It adds this gorgeous, subtle tang, a nutritional boost, and a rich mouthfeel to your curries and rice dishes that water just cannot compete with.
With our foundation locked in, let's move to our savory mains. Course 2, Aromatic Mastery, featuring our vegetable pilau.
Notice how we actually treat the cheese completely differently depending on the dish. It's not one size fits all. For our pilau, we coat the paneer in oil and fry it until it's a beautiful golden brown. This gives it a sturdy, caramelized exterior to hold its own against the heavy rice. But for the spinach sauce, we take a much lighter touch. We just broil the paneer for about 3 minutes on each side until lightly golden. This keeps the inside incredibly soft, basically turning it into a little sponge ready to soak up all that rich cream.
For the pilau, we're tossing in some deeply aromatic spices, half a teaspoon of black peppercorns, 8 cloves, a 1-inch cinnamon stick, and a couple of laurel leaves, along with seasonal veggies like carrots, cauliflower, and minced bell peppers. The technique here is absolutely crucial. You want to cook the washed basmati rice on high heat until every single grain is thoroughly coated in that spiced oil. Then, garnish with lightly golden cashews and raisins that literally burst in your mouth, adding these amazing little pops of sweetness. Oh, and pro tip, pair this vibrant pilau with a cool yogurt dip or a refreshing cucumber salad. It perfectly balances the warmth of those cloves and cinnamon.
Next up is Course 3, Balancing Richness. This creamy spinach dish is a masterclass in harmonizing heavy dairy with vibrant greens.
6. That is the exact number of minutes you steam the fresh spinach. You know, in a pro kitchen, timing is quite literally everything. Overcook it, and it turns this sad, unappetizing olive green. Undercook it, and it just won't blend right. But perfectly steamed, you blitz it up in a food processor with fresh ginger, garlic, and green chilies, and you get this incredibly smooth, fragrant paste.
Now for the magic. This simmering step is how we balance those intense, earthy green notes with pure luxury. You start by sautéing onions with turmeric until they're perfectly golden, building a sweet, earthy flavor base. Then, toss in some diced tomato, just a touch of acidity to cut through the richness of a whole cup of half and half. Simmer the whole shebang for 10 minutes, and you've got a silky sauce that's going to coat that tender, broiled paneer like an absolute dream.
Before we dive into the desserts, we've got to reset. Course 4 is our palate cleanser, a false sharbat, or blackberry downpour.
When you're planning a multi-course dinner menu, the transition from heavily spiced savory dishes to delicate desserts is a big deal. For this, you soak blackberries overnight for maximum flavor, mush them up, and strain. But the real game changer? Mixing in both sugar and a pinch of sea salt. Served chilled over crushed ice with little bite-sized pineapple slices, this icy, slightly salty drink just washes away the lingering spices and completely wakes up your palate for the final act.
And here we are, the grand finale, Course 5, Sweet Symphonies, where we utilize our paneer and dairy skills for extraordinary sweet creations.
Okay, let's hit pause for a quick but absolutely essential kitchen safety check. When we're working with boiling milk for our kulfi or hot, simmering sugar syrups for our paneer patties, things can go sideways fast. Boiling milk can froth over in the blink of an eye, and that simmering sugar syrup, it acts like liquid glass. It will stick to your skin and burn deeply. So please, always monitor your heat levels and handle these hot liquids with absolute focus.
Now check out this pro time-saving hack. By condensing your kulfi milk and sugar down to 2 cups during hour 1, right while your paneer is doing its 5-hour press, you are multitasking like a true executive chef. By hour 3, you mix the kulfi with pistachios and freeze it in paper cups. And right at hour 5, your paneer is perfectly pressed and ready to knead. Not a single minute wasted.
So, your paneer is ready. You take 8 ounces of that freshly made cheese and knead it with exactly 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour until it feels incredibly airy. That flour is the absolute secret here. It acts as a crucial binder. That way, when you form thin patties and poach them in that dangerously hot sugar syrup for 2 minutes, they hold their shape beautifully instead of just melting into a cloudy mess.
And here is how we balance bright citrus notes with a profoundly rich, creamy dessert profile. We actually boil 1 tablespoon of orange rind right into the half-and-half cream and sugar, simmering it for 30 whole minutes. This lets those aromatic citrus oils deeply infuse the dairy. You cool it, decant it over those poached paneer patties, and let the whole thing chill in the fridge for 8 hours. Every single bite soaks up that bright, sweet cream. Finish it off with a garnish of chopped, unsalted pistachios for crunch and some golden leaves for a really stunning, high-end presentation. You've just uncovered how to harness liquid gold whey, balance earthy greens with rich creams, and safely navigate boiling syrups to create stunning multi-course masterpieces. Take these fundamental building blocks and get creative. The only question left is, now that you're armed with the secrets of a professional kitchen, how will you build your own signature flavor profile?